Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, you know what? I'm not even going to do all that. It's not even a podcast anymore. These are life updates. My head looking super shiny right now. Um, and I'm rolling with it. That's what happens. You get older, your head gets shiny, you get wifed up. Um, that comes to the territory of growing up. So I can't believe it's been as long as it's been. I was just looking at the last time I talked to y'all and recorded one of these, and it's been, I think it was May. I think it was May 12th. And that's insane because so much has happened. This is the longest I've gone, I think, since I started this nomad adventure. So am I out of focus? I hope so. I hope not. Since not recording the pod, I think. So I want to come just kind of share what's been going on, where I'm at. 3 months in Brazil. This is insane. Share some Brazil insights. And give you guys kind of update on where I'm at, what's going on, and talk through some things that have been on my mind. So since the last pod, which is crazy, I went to New York. I took my girl to New York and introduced her to the fam, which was super cool. And I think there's something about if you've ever had a partner that's from another place, it's really cool, like being able to experience that place with that person. Like I'm kind of jaded, kind of grumbly, like, oh, New York, that's great, blah, blah, blah. But it was like so cool being able to take her there. And I remember arriving in the city, like the first time when you come in on the bus, and you see the city for the first time, and it's like, it's New York, it's special. And there's something about that I really forgot. And so you're almost able to experience the world or have re-experience these things that you might already have, ideas about when you get to show them to somebody else for the first time. And so that was really special. And then even taking her upstate, like this is a trip, I've done so many times, coming in, flying in, overnight, red eye, you're tired. And then you got to take the train to the Greyhound, and the Greyhound, 4 hours of state. So it's like, oh my God. But it was all felt like part of the adventure. I remember we came in, we went to a diner. I was like, maybe this is how we do it in New York, like a typical New York diner where it was like way too much food. It was like pounds of potatoes and just like tons of carbs. It was like a mountain of hash browns and then toast and then it was like, she was like, and then, jam. She was like, what? She's like, I was like, this is why we're so big. We're big people. But it was really cool introducing to her mom and dad. We had a great time upstate. Introduced her to my brother and my sister-in-law. So we went to Philly, which was really cool for just a hot second. It was just a high and by. It would have been cool to spend more time in Philly, but that's kind of how the game goes sometimes is you just, now that I'm working full time, I only get a week off, at a time. So I get like 1 week off in the winter and then 1 week off in the summer. And so I was still kind of working while I was at home. So it was, it is what it is, but, I learned how to be an adult. And that was really special. But then immediately after that, so like my mom fed us a bunch. Shout out to Mom. We had some chicken pesto for my birthday. I gained probably 5 pounds. And then we went back to Medellin, packed our stuff up, and then flew to Cucuta, which is where she's from, in Colombia. And then her mom fed us Colombian style. And I probably gained another 5 pounds. So we both left after that a little bit chunkier than we started, but it was really interesting kind of going from my family and parents to her family and parents, going from the New York style to the Colombian style. And I was still working when we were at her place in Colombia, but her mom and dad are super sweet. And so it was really nice being there. We went to a wedding. It was really cool. I was able to dress up. I had my gold chain on. I had my fucking guayabera. I had loafers. I was looking fucking Cuban, bald. I had the mustache. I had my Latino with me. I was like, dude, I'm making my ancestors proud right now. I was like, I'm at the wedding, bunch of Colombians. I had a gold bracelet. I'm like, I'm fucking repping right now. You know what I mean? From my bloodline. And that was cool. I was super on my Cuban shit. I was even hitting a little salsa, a little bachata, 2-step here and there, but I couldn't keep up with them. They, Latinos, they party hard. So I bounced at around 11, and went back to bed. But it was cool. Kind of get a little taste of where she's from. And I think that kind of that goes both ways. It kind of paints a picture. You understand someone more once you see where they come from and what they've been through. And that's something that I think I'm continuing to learn and also share as well as like how culture, especially like where you grow up, where you're from, these things are so kind of ingrained in your DNA that I think it's tough to explain that. And it's sometimes just easier to show somebody. And so I think that was really helpful. I think for both of us, to kind of see what it's like growing up, with a driveway a third of a mile long with like no neighbors, no lights, country shit. And for me too, to see her city, because it's so different from what I'd imagined. And it's like around the border of Venezuela. And so it was really cool to kind of get that experience and hang out with her family too. Her family's so sweet. So that was cool. And then we packed up and went right from there out here to Brazil, which is where we've been for the last 3 months because my visa expired. And so I didn't have any more days in Colombia. And so I was like, okay, we can do this long distance, or we can try to do a civil union, or I can have this adventure and take you with me, and we can kind of experiment with what it's like living together. So we've been in Brazil for the last almost 3 months. It's 3 months basically next week. So we fly out on Tuesday. And yeah, it's been fascinating. Unfortunately, I forgot that I didn't forget, but I didn't realize it was Rio's winter. Like, excuse me, ChatGPT just straight up lied to me. It was like, yeah, it'll be nice. Rio's winters are pretty mild. I was like, dude, this is cold. This is rainy. So I told her, I was like, don't pack any pants. I was like, don't bring anything. Like, I was like, it's going to be beachy. Last time I was here in the summer, it was like, you're sweltering always. And so it was like, that was kind of tough to be like, I was like, don't pack any pants. We both got here and we're like, we're really cold. That first month was cool, kind of settling in. Because we both come off being fed by our mothers, we wanted to kind of diet, trim up a little bit. So we started like ordering these little like microwave meals, these like fitness meals, which was cool. But that was kind of tough because you're both dieting, you're kind of tired or a little bit cranky. It was also our first time, like full time, somewhere else and living together. And so that was cool, being able to kind of show, again, I'd been here before. I love Rio. But last time it was so different. I think, again, that kind of comes in being in a new place, or a place we've been before, but with somebody new. And so it was cool. Like last time I was here, I was really focused, but I didn't have a partner. And so I didn't really do that many touristy things. I did a lot of hikes because I just like hiking, but it was cool to be able to experience some of those things with her. And we did like all the fun touristy stuff that month. So if you ever come to Brazil, especially come to Rio, let me know. I got the Rex for you. We ate some really good food. It was funny. We realized pretty quickly, like, we both really love Italian food. And so we were trying some Brazilian food and it wasn't quite hitting the mark. Like, we were getting close. It was cool, but everything. It's so funny you talk to Brazilians, they love their food. Like the people from New York, we love our food. Like, everybody kind of loves and reps their own, their own stuff. But their steakhouses are amazing. They do these things. It's like, if you've ever been to Fogo de Chão, I think it's called, in the US, it's like one of these Brazilian steakhouses. They like take on these big racks of meat and like slice it off in front of you, and it's delicious and amazing. But I've been trying to be vegetarian, have not been doing a good job. But we did a couple of steakhouses, which is great. And then there's also amazing Asian food, like sushi type of stuff, which we've only done a little bit. Other than that, we've been doing a lot of Italian food. And so we got some of like probably the best lasagna I've ever had in my life. There's this one spot we've hit it 3 times now because they have this one pasta dish that we love, and really good like Italian gelato. Really good food. But also, I'm excited to switch up a little bit too, which brings me to the next point. So what's kind of next on the list? Where are we going from here? So we've been in Brazil, and then we're going to go to Buenos Aires for about a month or so. So if you have Rex, let me know. I was there before for 6 months, but it was solo, and it was like during this crazy mosquito infestation, which I probably have recorded pods about, where it was like insane. Like, you couldn't even like walk around outside because there were so many mosquitoes. Like, you had to be head to toe completely zipped up, and then they'd still like, I'd be in like a little little jacket and like with gloves on, and like my little hood pulled completely tight, and they'd still like come and like bite my face. Insane. You couldn't go outside really. Like, if you were in a restaurant, like, you have to like you'd taste off. People would be like spraying off, and so like you'd just be like tasting it in the air. It was insane. Really crazy. And so it was not like the ideal times. And then it was also during the winter, so I was super cold because I'm kind of lame now. So I get cold if it's like 60. I'm like a bird. I was also just started working sales, and so that was kind of tough too. I was like, it wasn't the best time of my life. So I'm excited to go back with Shorty and actually give this a shot, like a real shot. I know they have amazing food. I also wasn't I was broke at the time too, which is like not a great way to experience. I think it can be really nice, depending on where you are in your life, to be like broke sometimes. It like forces you to get scrappy and experience certain things. Like, I don't think that like Chiang Mai chapter would have been the same. Like, that whole Asia chapter, if I had more money, like, I would have wanted to ball out more. I wouldn't have been like, I think, so outgoing, trying to get stuff like talking to people and really trying to like soak up game and stuff at the same way that I am now. And now I'm more introverted. I'm like more of my creature comforts are met, so I'm not as like go get 'em. Like I have to take you out and take you for dinner sort of thing. I'm more like go get 'em with my own shit. I feel like I've got my friends. I know my friends. I know my community. I have, I've been doing this for 6 years, almost 7. So it's like I just feel like I'm more dialed in. Whereas back then I was broke, scrappy, and there was almost like that fire under me to kind of like get me to go do stuff. I was teaching English with VIP kid, for $15 an hour. So that hustle felt different than it does now, where I'm still hustling, but the dreams are bigger now. And I'm not like just living check to check. So that's a nice little upgrade, but I can't show you, but I'm still sleeping on the pull-out couch, so don't get it twisted. Your boy's still out here thugging it out. But it's been a really powerful, I think, year thinking about now, the last year with Lena, and then also having this job. I'm coming up on, I got a girlfriend and a job, big boy job, same month, and coming up on a year for both. And it's really crazy how much your life can change in a year. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. I'm struggling, I've got like this shoulder injury that's been bugging me this whole year. We're really bad tendonitis in my shoulders. I haven't been able to box. I haven't really been able to lift the same way. And so it's been like learning how to like let go. I think for so long I've had this idea of my masculinity, I think, wrapped up in image of what it means to be a man, being strong, being, muscular, or being in shape, being fit, being able to handle situations like that, which is still really important to me. But I think because I never felt fully like super manly, like in my heart, as I'm more of a sensitive guy, I'm into like poetry and jazz more than I am like, driving trucks and chopping wood and shit. I think I always try to like compensate with like the physical piece. And so even when that's been taken away, it's been really like a real practice in like letting go and self-acceptance. And I think that's been really helpful having Lena, is like learning how to love myself with through a partner's eyes, like something where she'll, that she loves me the way I am. I don't have to be like the pristine physical specimen. I'm not saying I was before either, but like, I don't have to be like carved of stone like David with abs for her to love me. And I think that's been really interesting. It's kind of like, the worst shape of my life, hands down. At least, maybe worse. No, in high school I was pretty bad, but like worst shape in a long time. And like learning how to like roll with that, getting a little chunky. Like I'm much I'm like smaller and chunkier, which is like not a great combo. That's like the two things you don't want to have. But tell myself in my mind, like, this is a long-term game and like it'll get better, and this isn't forever. And that's another thing too, like when I've been struggling too sometimes in the day job, and like it's a great job, but in terms of 6 years being able to kind of call my own shots, that has been a bit of an adjustment too. But tell myself like, who knows how long any of this lasts is only as long as you make it. Meaning, I think if you've gone through anything hard in your life, that at some point it just becomes half of a sentence when you're talking to somebody else about it. I think about that, like high school. High school was hard for me. And I think about now, it's like, I don't even talk about high school. I don't even think about high school that much. I think about this like decade trying to be a rapper. And now it's like, that's half of a sentence. If someone's like, hey, like I'm from Philly or the Philly, I was like, oh, like, if I'm trying to build some common ground with them, like, oh yeah, like, spent half a decade there. And it's just interesting how fast entire portions of your life fly by in retrospect. But it's only when you're in the middle of it that it can seem like it's going to be forever. Like it can feel like you're in this box forever. That just because the state you're in now can feel like it's never ending. But you live through enough tough shit and you realize that everything's temporary, So I've been kind of coming back to that. That's been helping me a lot. Yeah, and then also a big thing too in terms of like, these last few months, so we chatted too, is like learning about relationship stuff. I think it's the first relationship in a long time, maybe ever, but I think in a long time when I was like, yo, this is it. Like, I'm really going for it. This is the one. And so not being able to just like dip out when things get hard, but being like trying to like reinvest into it. And before, if it was like something, somebody hurt me or something didn't treat right, I was like, all right, peace, like I'm out. Then I would just dip out because a lot of time I was traveling around. And I think there's a certain level you get to, like zero. I've talked about this before on here, but like there's like a 0 to 10, like if you have like 10 levels of like a relationship or like in Buddhism, like you're trying to get like enlightenment or whatever. I feel like I've gone to like 1 to 3, like a lot, maybe 1 to 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like you get to these 3 levels, of like intimacy and connection, and then you get hurt and you leave. Or I'm so distracted because my head is so shiny. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if that's distracting for you too, but welcome to a bald life. But I feel like I got really good at like meeting people, the like going on dates and having that like fun first phase, and then like moving into slightly more serious phase, like doing that a lot of times. But I never like I have like very little experience going from like 4 to 8 and then like 8 to 10, and I'm in that like 4 to 8 phase right now. And it's just a totally different set of skills. I feel outside of my wheelhouse a lot of times. I'm still learning, and we've had about one big fight a month here, and it's been interesting. Like the skills of rupture and repair are so different than like trying to seduce somebody. I'm not saying I'm seductive, but like trying to like finesse, that those like initial stages with somebody is a different set of skills than being, than getting hurt and hurting someone and coming back together, and these things that, the more that I think we learn about each other, the better we get at that, because you also learn context. And something that happened recently, and that was a big piece for me as we were working through it, was like how much context matters, because I said some stuff that really hurt her and had no idea, because of like the context that she was viewing it from just felt so different than the way I approached it. And so like I'm constantly, you learn these things where people are sensitive, and how what you say isn't always how, I mean, that seems like 101, but like really being aware of the difference between your intention and like reception. And so I've been really trying to work on that. Is like trying to like learn to like be in the pocket, that like really intense when you're hashed it out, you're in the shit, like just being in that pocket and trying to stay grounded. And the worst times is when like my feelings and frustration and defensiveness have gotten the best of me. But like, I think when I'm at my best self, I'm able to stay in that. I'm able to see it while I'm saying it. Kind of like be like, hey kid, you're here, stay in the pocket, kind of a thing, like meditation type shit. Like she'll say something, I can feel my body like feeling like it has like that fight or flight response, the adrenaline dump, and I'll be like, I'll say like feel it, like stay in the pocket, like they'll come back to that and like breathe, kind of these like little mantras I'll come back and cling to kind of like be there, because the first thing I want to do is like defend myself and talk, and I'm like, let me understand this better and ask questions. And it wasn't until we had a thing, and that recently it was probably our worst one, and it wasn't until like asking more and learning more later after the whole thing, when we like came back and kind of rehashed it, that I realized I was missing like this huge piece of context that was really helpful. And so like that would have been like, that was the unlock to the whole thing. I couldn't quite piece it together. I was frustrated about it. I was like, why? This doesn't make sense. I was like, what's going on? And then with that context, I was like, oh, like I get it. And that was a huge unlock. And so that was really powerful. And so it's been a lot of learning too, is relationships, for learning how to, do that dance, that rupture repair dance with somebody. And really grateful for her that I think that she's willing to do that with me. Every Sunday, we have a check-in, and there's 3 questions that I'll read these off to you. There's 3 questions that I got. This is not an original idea. This is something I stole from, I think maybe I hate to say it, maybe a TikTok. I hope not. But one is, what's something I did this past week that made you feel appreciated or loved? 2, is there anything I did that's still bothering you we may not have talked about yet? 3, is there anything you need more of, or something we should work on together? And we do that every single Sunday. And it's super helpful. And like, that's like today, we were able to kind of rehash some stuff that I think we both might have wanted to talk about. I know I did, at least. So those are taking my time, my exposure. How we doing? So that's a little gem for you if you haven't done that. That's been good. And then another thing that I want to share with you is the best birthday gift ever. And you waited till the end, so I'm going to share this with you. This is what the whole thing was about. So just, I'll say this in the caption, but just skip to the end. Skip to right now if you want to. The best gift I ever got was for my 30th birthday. And I came home. It was right after COVID, I think, because right after COVID. It must have been 2021. And I'd been home before, but it was like right after that crazy phase. And I flew home. My brother was there, my mom and my dad, and my brother. We ate dinner. It was like really nice. Pesto chicken, typical Kia, on his birthday. And talking about himself in the third person. And then my brother's like, hey, I've got this video I've been working on. Can I show it to you? I was like, go ahead. I'd love to see some of your stuff. My brother, by the way, shout out my big bro. My big bro just won an Emmy. Moment of silence for that's crazy. Shout out big bro. Bro just won an Emmy. If you need a killer cinematographer, Philly, New York area, fuck it. He'll fly out to you. Holler to big bro. He was like, let me show you something. I was like, cool. So he sat me down on the couch, and my mom and my dad came over, and I was like, my mom was like cuddling up on me pretty hard, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cute. Maybe she's just excited to see this video my brother worked on. And he played the video. And if you're one of my friends, close friends, or know where this is going, my mom had reached out to all of my close friends and like anyone that she could get a hold of and had them send me a birthday video. And it was like a surprise. It was like a surprise 30th birthday that I had no idea was coming. And, with like all of like my little nomad homies and like girls that I was crushing on hard at the time, I was like, Mom, how'd you pull that off? So it was like so special and something that I still have and like go back to maybe once a year, sometimes near my birthday. And it's cool to see the friends that you're still close with, friends that you don't keep in touch with like you should. And, just giving you a little snapshot of life at that point. And so I knew we'd be away for this birthday for my girlfriend. And I was like, I want to do that for her. And so we got here in July, and I started even before then when we were in Cucuta, when we were back in her like hometown, when we went to the wedding that I told you about. She had a cousin, and he spoke really good English. And I was like, okay, this dude's going to be my contact. So it's hard for me to explain it in my Spanish, but she had a cousin two cousins. And I talked to both of them and like let them know individually, separately what I had planned. And so it's like, one, if you want to do it, start early. My mom gave me this advice. So once I started planning it, I talked to my mom. I was like, hey mom, how early should I start this thing? She's like, Kia, months out, because people take a long time to respond. You got to hit them up multiple times. And she's a fundraiser. So she's basically in sales. So she knows like the fortunes and the follow-up, how many times you got to follow up with somebody. And she was not wrong. People take a lot of follow-up, especially, shout out Latinos, man. But like, it's, they're like, it's not like they're like, hey, I'm going to do this 3 months in advance. It's like, they're like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And then I should show you if it wasn't incriminating for the names, I'll show you how many times I had to follow up with people. And they'll like get it to you like the week before. They're like, yeah, I'll do it. But that's, so it goes. But I was able to compile this list of people, and, one person thinks through another, or this person connects with that person. Going through, I was being super shiesty with my phone. I remember there was one time, because we'd go to the gym and she'd record her workouts, like her progress, etc. And I should be like, hey, baby, I didn't remember my phone. Let me see yours. And I was like, nah. And she's like, come on. She's like, what's up? What's going on? And I was like, you just got to trust me. I'm cooking. Like, let that boy cook. Give me time. I promise it'll be worth it. But like, I'm not cheating on you. You just got to know that like I'm cooking something. So she kind of knew something was going on. But I put together all these clips from her friends. I put it to a soundtrack. I was finally at like Instagram, like her homies from the gym I was able to get, and like, some like distant family. I connected with her mom. Her mom connected me, her family in Spain, like, old friends from the past, like friends that she talked about, but like lived that I never, it was like so many DM slides with like a little starter message, be like, hey, this is really weird. Working on a secret project. Please don't say anything. Send me a little video for her. And I was able to pull it off. I played it for her a week or two ago, and it was really sweet, and got her to cry, which is always the goal. And it was cool to also kind of see, it's cool because you obviously know how much you feel, how much you care about your significant other, but it's cool to see, other people sing their praises for, 30, 40 minutes. So that was really nice. And then I took her to this little island out here. It's called Ilha Grande. And it's called like, AKA, that translates like their big island. but that was when we were going away for the weekend, for our birthday weekend. It's supposed to be like so nice. And it was like kind of rainy and cold the whole time. And it was like super expensive seafood. One of those things where like inside and you're like looking out over the beach and like your little hotel room. And you're like, I'm not sure I really feel like going out today. You know, you're like, and it's supposed to be like supposed to be one of the most beautiful beaches, like top 10 beaches in the world. And we were there about like 30, 40 minutes. We were like, do you want to go home? It's just like, you know, it's, sometimes my dad would say, sometimes magic works, sometimes it don't. But yeah, that's my little update. If you want to do something like this for your friend, holler at me. If you want to do it, I can share my little template. Mine was in Spanish, but it's basically, you have a little template you send out, start in advance, keep a spreadsheet, color code it if you need to. It takes multiple reach outs. I would just do it every Sunday. It's so much easier if you aren't living with the person, but if you are, every Sunday I go on a walk outside and talk with my family. And I also just like to go on walks. And so I would find a lot of weeks used to go on walks, and then I would just follow up with people when I go out and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'd say, hey, it's your weekly reminder. I'd be like, hey, it's your weekly reminder. Don't forget to send it. And sometimes you have to like twist the knife a little bit to be like, hey, she'd love to have you in it, you know? But it's super worth it. So highly recommend that if you feel so inclined. Best birthday gift I've ever received. I think it's also the best gift I've ever given, because you know, you get excited for months. You get to see another aspect of your partner. You don't normally get to see memories from other people, and like it's so meaningful. And yeah, it was a really cool project to work on. And also, I'm also so grateful for the one that my mom made for me. And it's a little like keepsake you'd have for the rest of your life. So that's it. I'm already coming at 30 minutes. I can't believe I haven't recorded one of these in 3 months. Hopefully I'll be able to get one too. We're going to Buenos Aires and then Mexico. We're finishing our little adventure in Mexico. Ciudad de Mexico before coming back, before leaving for the holidays. I'm going to Istanbul with my mom for the holidays. And then back to Colombia and settling in there. I'm working on my next collection of poetry. So if you're into poetry, would love to send that to you. Let me know. I'll send you a author's edition or whatever that shit is. Author's copy. And then I'm working on my first thriller. Finished my first thriller, but everybody I sent it to didn't like it. And so I was like, maybe that's a sign. I mean, they liked it, but people are like, oh my God, this is so good. They're like, yeah. And then a lot of people are like, wow, what about this? I don't love that. I was like, maybe this would work better as a graphic novel. So that's something I'm kind of sitting on too, is maybe how do I turn that into a graphic novel? I've been super high on AI video lately. Also super high on AI, like illustrations and graphics and stuff. And so I feel like maybe it needs to be a graphic novel instead. And I feel like I'm at the point where I could pull that off with AI. So excited about that. Other than that, I'm just doing my book thing, writing, learning, fucking up, and learning more. All right. Thanks for tuning in. As always, hopefully it won't be so long until the next one. Holler at me. Let's catch up. Peace.